Welcome back to Happily Ever WTF. Have you ever had that gut feeling, that persistent whisper telling you something isn't quite right even when everything on the surface appears perfectly fine? That tiny nagging doubt that just plants itself firmly in your mind and, well, it just won't let go, no matter how hard you try to rationalize it away. That's precisely the kind of intricate, sometimes messy unraveling we dive into here on the Deep Dive. Our mission, as always, is to take a stack of sources, articles, research, maybe even a wild Reddit post like today's, and our own notes, and really pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight for you. We aim to give you a genuine shortcut to being truly well-informed, maybe with some surprising facts, and hopefully just enough humor to keep you hooked and curious. Today we're embarking on a particularly compelling deep dive. It's a story that really underscores the power of observation, the insidious nature of deception, and honestly, the undeniable way truth ultimately surfaces, even when it's deeply inconvenient.
Our primary source for today comes from a real-life account originally found on Reddit, shared by a user known as UPurePilot5672. This raw, honest narrative was later highlighted in a compilation titled The Telltale Toddler and the Affair Unveiled, and it's this powerful account that we're really going to dissect for you today.
Yeah, and our mission in unpacking this narrative isn't just about recounting, a dramatic story, though it is dramatic. It's really about meticulously pulling out its threads. We want to examine not just what happened, but maybe explore why these specific events unfolded the way they did. And more importantly, what broader universal lessons they offer us about, well, human behavior, the complexities of communication, and honestly, the vital role of critical thinking in a world just overflowing with information and often misinformation. We're trying to go beyond the surface level drama here to understand the underlying dynamics at play.
Okay, so let's set the scene for you. Picture this. A 31-year-old woman, she's a devoted stay-at-home mom, caring for two young children, ages 4 and 2. She's been with her husband, who's 33, for 15 years. That's a significant chunk of her life, right? And they've been married for 3 of those years. Now, for the past year, he's been working 5 hours away on weekends. It seems like a fantastic professional opportunity, but it requires him to be out of town regularly. But beneath this veneer of, professional success and domestic stability, a gnawing suspicion is quietly, persistently brewing. And it's fueled by signs that are, well, let's be honest, far from subtle.
Exactly. And what's absolutely crucial for you to understand from the very outset here is the profound dependency at play. As a stay-at-home mother, she is, by the design of their current family structure, entirely financially dependent on her husband. And this reality, it just dramatically raises the stakes for her. It severely shapes her options, her choices. This
Yeah.
isn't just about a broken trust or a damaged relationship, though it's definitely that too. It's about the potential collapse of her entire family structure, her personal autonomy, her financial stability. It just adds these immense layers of complexity and vulnerability to an already incredibly difficult situation. And that influences every decision, every piece of evidence she encounters.
Okay, right. So let's unpack this timeline because what unfolds is it's like a masterclass in how suspicion isn't born from a single isolated event. Not usually, anyway. Instead, it builds piece by undeniable piece until it transforms from a quiet whisper into this like roaring, undeniable certainty. You start with a small, unsettling observation, maybe a quiet discomfort, and then another and another until the pattern becomes so glaringly clear it's just impossible for anyone paying attention to ignore. It's like watching a slow-motion car crash of trust unfolding right before your eyes.
Yeah, it's that accumulation, isn't it? One thing might be explained away, maybe two,
Hmm.
but the pattern becomes the evidence.
Exactly. And the very first piece, this seemingly small detail that already set off alarm bells, was discovered after one of his weekend trips. The wife finds a woman's shirt. Okay, maybe not proof in itself, but it wasn't just any shirt tossed carelessly aside in the laundry pile. She finds it wrapped intimately, like folded into the arm of her husband's sweater, tucked away inside his luggage. It's almost as if someone deliberately placed it there, or maybe, hastily hid it. That intimacy is key.
Oh, absolutely. The placement is everything there.
And when she confronts him, his immediate explanation is that it belongs to a friend's hookup.
Right. And that's precisely where the foundation starts to crumble, isn't it? That initial, easily debunked lie. It isn't merely about a misplaced garment. It's the very first crack in the bedrock of their marital trust. It's fascinating and frankly quite alarming because it immediately signals a willingness to deceive with, honestly, minimal effort, offering an explanation so flimsy it almost insults your intelligence.
Right, like why? Why, out of all the possibilities, would a random shirt from someone else's supposed hookup end up intimately folded into your husband's personal sweater, then tucked away in his luggage?
Exactly. It just doesn't track. This isn't just an accident, like picking up the wrong bag. It's a very specific, very odd scenario. And it raises that critical question immediately. Does he genuinely believe she's that unintelligent, or is this just a desperate knee-jerk attempt at deflection? Either way, it sets a really disturbing pattern for future interactions. This initial, unconvincing defense points to, maybe, a low regard for her intelligence and intuition right from the start.
Or maybe just panic. A bad liar's first instinct.
Could be. Or maybe testing the waters, seeing what level of implausibility he can actually get away with.
Okay, so that's red flag number 1. Tangible, physical, but with a really weak explanation. And here's where it gets truly telling, because the next red flag shifts. It
Right.
moves from the physical world to the often more revealing digital one. She starts noticing something peculiar online. People from that distant city where her husband works, the one 5 hours away, they begin commenting on his public YouTube and Instagram posts. Maybe innocent, right? But when she delves a little deeper, clicks on these profiles, she discovers that all these new connections are tied specifically to that geographical area. It's like a digital beacon pointing right there.
The geographical clustering is key.
Exactly. But there's one woman in particular who consistently appears in the comments, an unusually frequent and maybe familiar presence. And of course, her husband follows her back.
And what's truly fascinating here is how our digital lives, they just often leave these undeniable trails, even when we attempt to compartmentalize or keep certain aspects separate. This is the very essence of a digital footprint in action. And it's far more expansive, I think, than many people realize. Every share, every login, even shared subscriptions, comments, followers, they all form this kind of digital breadcrumb trail. And while it might seem private to the individual, it can be meticulously pieced together by someone paying close attention, like she was.
Right, someone who already has a reason to look closely.
Exactly. It just underscores how, in our hyper-connected world, what you believe to be discreet or hidden might, in fact, be broadcast through your everyday digital interactions. These seemingly innocuous online things, like comments or follows, can, upon closer inspection, reveal hidden connections and patterns that someone might be actively trying to conceal.
Yeah, it's a subtle but really significant shift, isn't it? From tangible physical evidence like the shirt to these more abstract but equally potent network connections online. And the ease with which these public connections can be found by someone with, a sharp eye for detail,
Yeah.
it just shows how porous the digital world can be for someone trying to lead a double life.
Absolutely. It's like trying to keep secrets written in sand near the tide line. Eventually, the patterns show up.
Okay, so digital breadcrumbs are appearing. But then the audacity reaches a whole new, almost unbelievable level. Red flag number 3. This is one of those moments that just makes you shake your head in disbelief. She receives an email notification. The kind many of us might just instinctively dismiss as spam or an unimportant update.
Yeah, delete half of those without reading.
Right. But this one is specific. A new person has joined their shared Google Family account. And not only that, but this new person is now actively using their YouTube Premium subscription, a service they pay for, that they share as a private family benefit.
Wow. Okay. That's bold.
Bold is one word for it, and when she checks who it is, it's unmistakably the same woman identified in the previous digital red flag. The woman from Instagram, the one he follows, the one who keeps commenting on his posts.
Okay, that's just egregious. That's a
Yeah.
truly egregious misstep. It demonstrates such a startling lack of discretion or perhaps, I don't know, a deep sense of entitlement, a brazen disregard for the consequences.
Right. Adding someone, let alone this someone, to your private shared Google Family account. That's a level of digital intimacy and sheer carelessness that's almost unfathomable in this context.
It really is. So when the wife, understandably, loses it and confronts him with this undeniable evidence,
Mhm.
what happens?
He cries, profusely apparently. Claims the woman is just a friend of a coworker, there's that coworker again, and that he's merely been staying at that coworker's place for convenience while working away.
Ah, the coworker defense. And the tears. This is where that wisdom from our source really shines through, isn't it? Emotions don't equal innocence. Some people cry when they're guilty because they don't want to lose control, not because they didn't do it.
Such a critical point.
It really is. It delves right into the psychological aspect of tears as a potential defense mechanism. It can be a calculated tactic, to divert attention, evoke sympathy, or maybe it's just a desperate reaction to being caught, rather than an authentic expression of remorse or genuine innocence.
And that friend of a coworker excuse.
Oh, it's a classic flimsy, deflective narrative. It completely crumbles under even minimal scrutiny, especially given the context of all the accumulating evidence before this. And this level of digital integration, sharing deeply personal, paid digital services, it strongly implies a bond far, far beyond just a friend or a casual acquaintance.
Yeah, it screams relationship.
It signals a relationship with a much deeper level of commitment, shared intimacy, and comfort. It's a relationship that has effectively been integrated into his personal digital life, blurring the boundaries of his existing family unit in a really shocking way.
Okay, so the evidence is piling up. Physical, digital, now shared accounts. But wait, there's even more. Red flag number 4 brings us back to tangible evidence, but with a highly specific and, frankly, incriminating detail that's hard to overlook. She finds a coffee cup in the car. Now, a coffee cup might seem innocent enough in isolation, right? You grab coffee, leave the cup.
Sure, happens all the time.
But this wasn't just any coffee cup. It was clearly lipstick stained. Okay, that narrows it down. And it contained the remnants of a mocha latte. Crucially, her husband only drinks black coffee.
Ah, the specificity. That's the killer detail.
Exactly. That specific detail immediately makes it suspicious and personal. It's not his drink preference. And his immediate response when confronted, almost a knee-jerk reaction, I don't know where it came from.
Getting predictable now.
Right. Later, maybe realizing the sheer implausibility of that denial, he attempts to reconcile by claiming he ordered coffee for his ever-convenient coworker.
The coworker saves the day again. Or tries to. This piece of evidence, it just powerfully reinforces that escalating pattern of denial, doesn't it? And the increasing implausibility of these random objects just appearing without explanation. It's not just a generic coffee cup. It's a mocha latte, a very specific flavor he himself doesn't drink, and it's unmistakably got lipstick on it.
Totally. This isn't some anonymous cup that accidentally rolled into his car from a parking lot. It's a personal detail left behind that unequivocally screams connection to someone else, someone specific.
And yet again, the ubiquitous coworker makes a strategic and convenient appearance in his narrative. It's such a flimsy attempt to connect these very specific dots in a way that somehow aligns with his fabricated story.
It just doesn't hold water.
Not at all. This red flag, like the ones before it, really highlights how such small, specific, and out-of-place details can often be far more damning and harder to explain away than grand, sweeping accusations. They just relentlessly chip away at the credibility of his denials. They connect back to all the previous excuses and build this accumulating weight of inconsistencies in his narrative that becomes harder and harder for anyone, especially her, to ignore.
It also speaks to a level of carelessness, doesn't it? Like he's getting sloppy.
Or maybe a growing comfort level, a growing disregard even for the potential of being discovered, which is also worrying.
Okay, unbelievable. So just when you might think the universe couldn't possibly throw any more physical evidence into this man's orbit,
It does.
it does. Red flag number 5 appears. She finds a handwritten phone plan breakdown, again, discovered in the car. That car is like a treasure trove of incriminating evidence.
Seriously, maybe she should have just checked the car first thing.
Right, and it's clearly in a woman's handwriting. And the phone number listed on the breakdown is, well, you guessed it, definitively tied to that same distant city where he works on weekends.
Oh, come on.
I know. And his explanation for this incredibly specific, highly personal piece of third-party evidence.
Let me guess. I have no idea where that came from.
Bingo. Once again, he states with apparently a straight face, he has no idea where it came from.
It's truly astonishing, isn't it, how much just appears in this man's car and luggage without him having any knowledge or plausible explanation. This persistent pattern, it demonstrates such a profound level of, cognitive dissonance, where he's actively holding two conflicting beliefs, his innocence versus the overwhelming evidence.
Or just pure desperation.
Or perhaps just pure, desperate clinging to his fabricated narrative in the face of just insurmountable proof. The sheer volume of mystery items, each one more incriminating than the last, is now it's beyond overwhelming.
Yeah, this piece of evidence, a personal phone plan breakdown.
It directly ties back to the pattern established by all the previous red flags. The shirt, the digital connections, the Google family account, the mocha latte. It's another highly personal third-party item. And he has no plausible explanation for it, yet it points directly to the woman and the city in question. It just highlights his utterly complete disregard, it seems, for his wife's intelligence and her ability to connect obvious dots.
It really does. The husband's escalating carelessness, or maybe his increasing desperation, It contrasts so sharply with his repeated, increasingly unbelievable denials. It creates this vivid picture of a man hopelessly trapped in a tangled web of his own making, seemingly unable to tell a consistent story anymore.
He's run out of believable excuses. The well is dry.
Completely. But, okay, here's the moment.
Yeah.
The moment that finally broke her. The definitive, undeniable piece of the puzzle. The one that no amount of crying, no amount of flimsy excuses, no amount of gaslighting could ever undo. This is where the truth, in its purest, most unvarnished form, finally screams.
The point of no return.
Exactly. This is the sheer, innocent, unfiltered revelation that collapses the entire narrative he so painstakingly tried to construct, leaving it just in ruins. And the setup for this ultimate revelation is crucial. The husband had recently taken their 4-year-old son on a trip with him to that city where he works on weekends.
Oh no. He brought the child into it.
He brought their little boy, their innocent child, directly into this deeply compromised situation, unknowingly setting the stage for the truth to come out in the most unexpected and ultimately devastating way.
Wow. Okay, this pivotal moment, it really raises an important question for us to consider, doesn't it? Why is the testimony of a young child often so incredibly compelling and, well, definitive in these situations?
Yeah, why is that?
I think it's because children, particularly at this tender age, 4 years old,
Yeah.
they fundamentally lack the capacity for complex deception. They don't have the cognitive machinery for it yet. They simply report what they experience as reality, without filter, without any hidden agenda, and crucially, without understanding the profound implications or consequences of their words.
They're just stating facts as they see them.
Exactly. Their innocence is, in these specific circumstances, their most powerful truth-telling mechanism. They observe, they absorb, and then they accurately reflect what they've witnessed, completely unburdened by the need to protect secrets or manipulate narratives. They haven't learned those social complexities yet.
Okay, so picture this scene again. After they return home from the trip, the wife is doing something simple, intimate every day, tucking their son into bed. It's a quiet, vulnerable moment between mother and child. She's scrolling through the pictures her husband took on the trip, maybe just looking for cute photos of her son or passing the time while he drifts off. She points to a man in one of the photos and, assuming it's a male friend or colleague of her husband, she innocently asks her son, "Is that Mickey? Did y'all have fun with him?" Just making conversation.
Perfectly innocent question.
Totally. And her 4-year-old son, with that innocent precision and unvarnished clarity only a child possesses, immediately corrects her. Without missing a beat, without any hesitation, he replies, "No, Mom, Mickey is a girl."
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. But wait, he doesn't stop there. He then spontaneously adds, consuming the depth and nature of the interaction, that they stayed at Mickey's house.
Stayed at her house. Wow.
Yeah, that little voice with no filter, no agenda, no understanding of the gravity of his words, just pure, unadulterated fact. Delivered like he's telling her about his day at preschool. It was a complete, unassuming, and utterly devastating exposure. Your own child, Loki, exposed the entire operation like it was Dora the Explorer, Infidelity Edition.
Swiper. Yeah, he swiped your whole trust.
That is brutal, and the connection for the wife must have been immediate, visceral, absolutely devastating. She instantly realizes, doesn't she, that the woman from Instagram, the one from all the previous red flags, the one who brazenly joined their Google family account, who commented on his posts, the one implicitly linked to the mocha lattes and mystery phone numbers?
Yep. Her middle name has Mickey as her middle name in her Instagram handle. It all clicks into place, horribly. This single innocent statement from the 4-year-old son, spoken without guile or malice, just completely shatters every single one of the husband's previous denials and flimsy, desperate explanations.
Every single one.
Gone. It makes the truth utterly undeniable. It leaves absolutely no room for doubt, no space for further denial, no more questions about the pattern.
It's the ultimate aha moment, isn't it? But just the most heartbreaking kind.
A brutal yet complete revelation that leaves no stone unturned, no lie unchallenged. It's just a stark reminder that some truths are simply too big for even the most elaborate deceptions to contain, especially when a 4-year-old is involved.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so the truth is out, undeniably. Let's shift gears a bit. If we connect this profoundly personal story, this whole saga, to the bigger picture, what are the takeaways?
Yeah, I think this narrative offers some truly crucial and widely applicable insights. These aren't just relevant for this specific heartbreaking situation, right? They're for anyone navigating difficult truths, anyone trying to discern reality from persistent deception, or even just learning to trust their own instincts more in complex situations. This story really transcends the personal drama to offer some universal lessons about human nature and the pursuit of clarity.
Okay, so what's the first big lesson?
The first key lesson, powerfully distilled from this whole cascading series of events, is this. When the signs add up, believe them. Just believe them. This isn't about one isolated incident, it's the pattern. And that pattern, as the story vividly illustrates, is allowed.
Yeah, loud is a good word for it here.
It really is. Our brains, they're intrinsically wired to look for patterns, to connect disparate pieces of information. It's a survival mechanism, fundamentally. So when something feels off and then similar off things keep happening, that's your intuition screaming at you. It's rarely just one isolated incident that tells the whole story. It's the cumulative weight of inconsistencies and anomalies that truly matters.
Because dismissing individual red flags,
Yeah.
saying, oh, that's just a coincidence, that can lead to ignoring a much larger, more ominous picture.
Exactly. Because truth often reveals itself through that relentless consistency, not just through dramatic standalone events. The specificity and accumulation of all these seemingly disparate clues, a bizarre shirt, curious digital connections, audacious account sharing, physical evidence like a mocha cup and a phone plan, they form an undeniable pattern. It makes rationalization nearly impossible for the astute observer. Or it should.
That's the critical point, isn't it? How many coincidences does it take before it's undeniably a pattern? This story shows us it doesn't actually take that many, especially when they keep piling up in such specific, unmistakable ways. It's so easy to rationalize away one or two strange things at first. Oh, a shirt. Must be a friend's. Online comments. Just networking. We want to believe the best, right?
We do. Confirmation bias is powerful. We look for evidence that confirms our desired reality.
But when a mysterious shirt appears, then suspicious digital connections emerge, followed by unauthorized Google Family access, then a very specific lipstick-stained coffee cup, then a stranger's phone plan, and finally, a child's innocent statement. And they all relentlessly point in the same direction. That's not coincidence. That is a loud, undeniable pattern. You have to learn to tune into that loudness, to honor that inner voice that says, this isn't random, something is wrong here.
Trust the pattern. That's lesson 1. What's next?
Okay, lesson 2. This one really struck me from the source material.
Let's hear it.
Emotions don't equal innocence. Don't let crying be a convenient cover-up.
Ah, yes, the crying defense.
Exactly. As the source wisely states, some people cry when they're guilty because they don't want to lose control, not because they didn't do it.
That is such a crucial insight. It's a very common human response, almost instinctual, to feel empathy for someone who is expressing distress, especially through tears. We're generally wired for compassion.
Absolutely. You see someone cry, you want to comfort them, maybe even doubt your own accusations.
Precisely. However, this story powerfully reminds us to look beyond the immediate emotional display to the actions and the established pattern of behavior. Tears can indeed be a sign of genuine distress, sure. But that distress can stem from a variety of sources. The profound shame of being caught, the fear of severe consequences, the anger of losing control over a situation, maybe even genuine grief for the life they are losing.
But not necessarily from authentic remorse or innocence regarding the actions themselves.
Exactly. True remorse, the kind that indicates innocence or a profound desire for amends, it usually involves things like confession, accountability, a demonstrated willingness to make things right, which is quite distinct from manipulative displays designed primarily to elicit sympathy or deflect blame.
It's vital to recognize the difference between genuine pain and, well, the strategic emotional performance.
It is. And it's hard sometimes, especially with someone you love or have loved for a long time.
It's absolutely true. Tears are a powerful, sometimes subconscious tool. They can make you second-guess yourself, make you feel like you're being unfair, or even make you feel like you're the one overreacting or being overly suspicious. We're often deeply conditioned to respond with compassion.
We really are.
But as this deep dive shows us so clearly, what someone does and the consistent pattern of their actions, that often speaks much, much louder and more truthfully than how they react emotionally when finally caught. You have to develop the ability somehow to separate the emotion from the cold, hard evidence and the undeniable actions. This is where your critical thinking truly has to override your emotional response.
See past the performance to the reality. Okay, powerful lesson. What's number 3?
Number 3 is about practicality, especially given her situation.
The financial dependency.
Exactly. The third key lesson, particularly vital for anyone navigating a vulnerable position like our protagonist here, is the power of quiet preparation. The source advises, start preparing quietly. She's financially dependent, which makes this even harder. But now's the time to gather resources, get legal advice, look at options. Even if you stay, knowledge is power.
That is incredibly important advice. In situations where a significant power imbalance exists, like profound financial dependency, quiet preparation isn't about vengeance or, plotting retribution. It is fundamentally about self-preservation and creating viable options for yourself. It is about strategically empowering yourself from a position of vulnerability.
So what does that look like, practically?
Well, it translates into very tangible, practical steps. Understanding your legal rights regarding separation or divorce in your specific location. Meticulously assessing your financial realities, looking at shared assets, debts, income streams. Where's the money come from? Where does it go? Exploring potential housing options for yourself and your children, even if it's just preliminary research. And quietly, discreetly, building a robust support system of trusted friends, family, or maybe professional advisors like a therapist or a financial planner.
And the key is quietly.
Yes. This phase is about gathering facts and resources, not necessarily making immediate decisions or announcing your intentions. It's about information gathering.
Yeah, this isn't about being sneaky or manipulative in a negative sense. It's about being smart, proactive, and taking care of yourself and your future when someone else is demonstrably not. Especially when your financial security, your emotional well-being, and the stability of your children's lives are fundamentally at stake.
Absolutely. Having the facts at your fingertips, knowing your legal and financial rights, having a well-thought-out plan, even just a contingency plan, plan B, plan C, it can make all the difference. It helps you regain a sense of control and stability in what feels like a chaotic and uncertain situation. It's about empowering yourself with comprehensive information so you can make decisions from a position of strength, knowledge, and hopefully calm, rather than from desperation or panic.
It provides a crucial psychological anchor in a storm of deception. That makes sense.
Knowledge really is power in these situations. Okay, what's the fourth lesson?
The fourth profound lesson we can glean from this story is the absolute imperative to protect your peace.
Protect your peace. I like that.
Me too. The source notes, she deserves clarity, honesty, and a stable environment for her children. This constant confusion, it's a slow emotional breakdown.
That phrase, slow emotional breakdown, is chillingly accurate for what happens when you live in that kind of environment. Living in a sustained state of chronic suspicion, where your reality is constantly being denied, challenged, maybe even actively undermined, that process we call gaslighting, it's incredibly damaging to your mental, emotional, and even your physical health.
Yeah, the stress alone takes a huge toll.
Huge. This pervasive gaslighting and deception, it erodes your self-trust. It can lead to severe anxiety, depression, a profound sense of confusion, this general feeling of being adrift from your own sense of reality. As the source wisely states, it can lead to a slow emotional breakdown as your mind constantly struggles to reconcile conflicting information, what you know you saw, what you instinctively feel with what you're being told.
So protecting your peace means what? Setting boundaries.
It means demanding clarity. Absolutely. Setting firm and healthy boundaries. And ultimately, sometimes it means making courageous choices to remove yourself from environments that are actively, systematically eroding your mental and emotional well-being.
It's not just for your own sanity and health either, right? It's also about providing a genuinely stable, honest, and predictable environment for your children, free from that corrosive shadow of deception and emotional instability.
Exactly. Kids pick up on that tension, that dishonesty, even if they don't understand the specifics.
Oh, definitely. And the emotional energy spent on constantly questioning, on trying desperately to make sense of what doesn't make sense, on reconciling obvious truths with blatant lies. It is utterly exhausting. It's a relentless, draining battle between what you vividly see with your own eyes, what your gut is telling you, and what you are relentlessly told by someone you're supposed to trust.
It's mental torture, essentially.
It really is. This deep dive into a very real story reminds us that your peace of mind is not just important. It's a non-negotiable asset. It's a precious commodity that, once significantly eroded or lost, is incredibly difficult to regain.
Yeah.
Choosing to protect your peace means choosing yourself, choosing your authentic reality, and ultimately choosing the truth, even when that truth is painful and difficult to confront. It's an act of radical self-preservation.
Well said. Okay, those are 4 really powerful, practical lessons. How do we connect this to sort of the bigger universal picture.
Yeah, let's broaden out.
Yeah.
Finally, let's connect this powerful story to some universal truths that resonate far beyond the specific details of this one relationship. We can draw from the wisdom shared in the source material itself.
Okay.
There's that quote often attributed to Luke 8:1-7 in the Bible, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open."
That perfectly encapsulates the maybe inevitability of truth surfacing, doesn't it?
Okay.
It often emerges in the most unexpected and uncontrollable ways, as perfectly exemplified by the toddler's innocent, unfiltered revelation in this story. Truth finds a way out.
It really does seem to, and this isn't just about infidelity, is it? It's about any situation where trust is challenged, where narratives are spun to mislead, and where you're being told, essentially, to doubt your own perception or your gut feeling.
Absolutely. It profoundly emphasizes the critical importance of trusting one's own intuition, that inner knowing, or what the source calls your spirit, when you're facing denial, gaslighting, or when presented with information that just feels wrong, despite all reassurances.
That whisper before the scream idea.
Exactly. Your inner compass often picks up subtle signals, those quiet whispers, long before concrete, undeniable evidence finally solidifies into a scream. As the source powerfully puts it, sometimes God whispers before the evidence screams. You have to learn to listen to the whispers.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener, tuning in? It's a powerful, tangible reminder, I think, that while people may try to bury truths under layers of excuses, elaborate lies, emotional manipulation, they rarely stay buried forever. The universe, or perhaps the utterly innocent, unfiltered voice of a child, has a truly remarkable and often undeniable way of bringing things to light, frequently at the most unexpected and impactful moments.
And maybe the most reliable guide through all of that often is that quiet, persistent voice inside you, the one urging you to pay attention, to believe the patterns you observe, and to ultimately trust your own discernment, your own sense of what is real.
Yeah. This story, in a way, it grants us all permission to pay attention to those crucial whispers, to respect our intuition, and maybe to act on them before the screams become unbearable or the situation becomes totally irrecoverable.
It's a call to trust yourself. Now, this compelling story, originating from that raw, honest Reddit post, it truly highlights the undeniable resilience of truth and the often surprising, unforeseen avenues through which it can emerge. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In your own life, how attuned are you to those subtle whispers of intuition before they potentially become undeniable, deafening screams? And maybe thinking beyond just personal relationships, how might proactively seeking clarity, meticulously gathering facts, and quietly preparing in other critical areas, maybe significant professional decisions, complex projects, even major life transitions, how might that protect your peace and empower you long before any metaphorical mochacucks or undeniable patterns of inconsistency appear? It's a principle, I think, that transcends the personal and extends into every facet of trying to live a well-lived, authentic life. Food for thought.
Definitely food for thought. Thank you for listening to Happily Ever WTF. We may not have it all figured out, but at least we're in this mess together. See you next time.